Hello, this is Solar PV TV from EU PVSec 2016 from München. We are together with a guest from far away with Professor Martin Green, father of the solar cells. Hello, Martin.
Hello, Thomas.
So, Martin, what brings you from so far away to EU PVSec actually?
I guess this has always been an important conference. So I've traditionally given the opening talk for this conference. So I guess as long as they continue to offer me that spot, I'll probably keep coming.
Will you tell us more about your achievements, about the achievements of your institute?
Yes, we've had a good year so far. So we claimed 3 records so far this year. But we're working on a wide range of technologies. We're quite a large university-based research group. So we now have about 125 PhD students. So quite a lot of different projects underway. But one of the projects is dealing with copper, zinc, tin, sulfide solar cells, which is a earth-abundant technology that many other people are working on. But we claimed a record for the first cell that was 1 centimetre squared, which is the standard test size, and that was about an 8% efficient cell. So that technology is in its very early stages, but I can remember back when both cadmium telluride and CIGS technologies were at similar efficiency levels, and it just took a lot of hard work to get them up to the 22% level where they now are. So we're hoping it's a similar story for the copper, zinc, tin, sulfide materials.
And do you have any cooperation with European institutes, with European organizations?
We've had a lot of cooperation over the years. So we've had many researchers from Germany in particular visit us over the years, and some have stayed in Australia, some have gone back home. But I was lucky enough to win a Humboldt Fellowship in about 10, 15 years ago. So that involved spending a lot of time in Germany. So established a lot of good links with German researchers as a result of that program. And we've had several Humboldt Fellows visit us and stay within our group. And at least one of those has stayed on with us.
And what do you think, Martin, taking into account your experience and also a lot of achievements in the solar energy, how do you feel about the European research, about the European institutes? Do you think that Europe can be and can retain its leadership position in the solar industry? And research, of course.
Yeah, Europe's played a very important role in the development of the industry. So there's a number of very strong research institutes throughout Europe. But I think the major contribution to photovoltaics may have been the German feed-in tariff program, which really was responsible for getting the industry to the stage that it's at now. Without that program, I think we wouldn't be looking at the very low costs we're seeing for solar photovoltaics at the present point in time.
You recently wrote a book about the Chinese industry. So I'm sure you were observing the fact that actually people a bit forgot about new technologies. The industry focused mainly on the scaling up and getting the cheapest price possible. Do you notice that it is changing slightly right now?
I think Chinese manufacturers have always been quite adventurous. So I don't think it's the fact they decided to concentrate on established technology. So I was very closely involved with the founding of the first manufacturers in China. In fact, people from our research group actually started 3 or 4 of the earliest companies to begin manufacturing there. And they have been quite adventurous in terms of introducing new technology onto the market. I think much more adventurous than the industry was prior to its recent growth. So I think they concentrated on silicon technology originally, but they did a lot of exploration of thin film technology, but it just turned out they were able to get the cost of the mainstream silicon technology. They were able to get the cost out of that to take it to much lower levels than anyone had anticipated was feasible.
So now you think that they will put more attention to the new technologies and next generation technologies?
Yeah, well, I think they already have done their share of introducing new technology. So the PERC cell technology that was originally developed in my group is now being commercialised, but that was spearheaded in Taiwan rather than mainland China, but the Chinese industry is now adopting that technology sort of across the board, and I don't think again that the adoption of that technology would have occurred without the reduction in costs that have occurred as a result of the manufacturing shifting to China.
So you were mentioning that Europe and especially Germany with feed-in tariff system was, let's say, gave the kick off of the whole industry in the world. Now in Europe, as you'll notice, we have a bit of issue with the market. The market slowed down, and we are speaking about, let's say, new wave of PV development, especially with the storage solutions, integrating solar into the whole energy and transportation solution. How do you see the future of solar? Let's say, taking into account your experience and also, your vision.
Yeah, it's becoming a worldwide industry, and I think Europe still has plenty to contribute. So there's many new technologies still required. But Europe has played a very active role in the equipment development side of the industry. So most of the manufacturing activity in China was based on the use of European equipment. So, although the development of the industry in China made it difficult for German manufacturers of cells to compete on the international market, that was not the case with the equipment. So there was many billions of dollars worth of German and other European equipment sold into China as the manufacturing industry there developed. I think that aspect is often overlooked, and it's always seen as a one-sided sort of transition. But actually the build-up of the industry in China was very beneficial to European equipment manufacturers.
Exactly. And you were mentioning, Martin, that you are coming since a lot of years for the opening speeches at EU PVSec. And what do you think about this conference? What is special about it that you're always coming here?
Yeah, I guess it's changed over the years. So I came to the very first conference in this series back in 1977, and in that era, the conference was the second largest in the world, I guess, because the IEEE conference, the US-based conference, was the premier conference. And then during the 80s, as the European governments concentrated more on the development of solar energy, the transition occurred, and this became by far the largest conference and a massive exhibition that accompanied it. And now we've evolved past that stage, and I think we're entering a new era with this conference. But rather than the emphasis on equipment and the industrial side of things, I think it's reverting back to a more academic conference was where it originally began.
So I assume that we will meet you also next year, yes, at the EU PVSec?
Yeah, I hope so. So I hope to be here again. It often depends on the timing and that kind of thing because, as you said before, I'm a long way from home. So it's not trivial to make a commitment to come over to Europe to attend a conference like this. But, this conference looks like it's going to be a very good one. So in all probability, I will be here next year. So
thank you so much, Martin, and hopefully we'll meet each other at the EU PVSec 33rd edition next year in Europe. That was Solar PV TV together with Martin Green from far, far away from Australia, who is every year coming to EU PVSec in Europe.